Hello, and welcome back to Shining from Within, the podcast where we explore the infinite amount of power and potential that lies within each and every one of us. I am your host with the most, Genevieve, and today I have the rare privilege of interviewing a personal friend of mine, but an artist in his own right and an artist in his craft. To be specific, I have the rare privilege of interviewing O'Brien, the poet. Most of you have had the opportunity to interact with him, or for those of you that might not have had the opportunity to interact with him, I feel like this will be the right opportunity and time to get to just have a glimpse into what his world is about, what his artistry is about, and so O'Brien, feel free, talk to the people.
Yeah. Yes, let me begin by saying you're doing the most with your podcast. I've been listening to some episodes that you've actually recorded in the must mention to say it's actually beautiful, and my name is
thank you. Okay.
My name is O'Brien and like earlier introduced, I'm an artist stroke writer. Let me just say I'm art itself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you heard it for yourselves. He is art itself. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let us begin. O'Brien, let's get right into it. Okay. So there are a few questions that a group of us wanted to, we came up with these questions, but as we go along, we'll be able to tweak them, and we just want to get a feel to give people a glimpse of what exactly you're all about. And so the first question is, can you start by sharing what initially drew you to poetry and how it has shaped your journey?
Amazing question. I must make mention to say I think I grew up in a very dysfunctional and toxic environment that actually made me develop certain red flags at a certain age. So back when I was, by the time I was at 10, I grew up with this crazy cousin of mine, and not really crazy in a good way though. Used to listen to Tupac and Biggie.
Okay.
From there, Pac was so lyrical in whatever I was doing, and that actually made me develop interest in the art itself, poetry. So I would say I developed the interest from listening to music by Tupac and Biggie, and so on. Then I would say I feel poetry is a very powerful tool, a combination of rhythmic verses that can take us by hand and lead us to wonderful places. It has actually taught me how to love and how I want to be loved. So I would say, in general, it serves as a moral parable for me. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Intense. There's a lot to unpack there, but wow, thank you. Okay. So between the two, I must ask for the listeners, Tupac or Biggie? Which one?
That is the most difficult question for me. Because you see, from Pac, there's something that I learned from him. Poetically, Tupac is a genius, like the best. And if you're looking for rhythms, rhymes, like wordplay, I would say Biggie. So that's in between. Because so I would actually say these two are actually incomparable, and then it would be very unfair for me to actually compare the two, because these were pioneers of what has come to be today, and most of us do inspiration from those.
Oh, okay. Impressive stuff, eh? Okay, anyway, it's a hard debate. Even I can't choose, but If I am to just, pick one, I would say park, but, that's just me. Okay, thank you for that. We'll move to the second question, which is, poetry often serves as a form of self-expression. How do you believe that self-expression through poetry can be therapeutic and beneficial for individuals seeking personal growth and well-being?
Okay, interesting. We often talk about identity and how this is a very important aspect of our lives. But at the end of the day, I feel, for me personally, poetry has helped a lot of people identify and their emotions for years now, or let me just say for centuries.
Okay.
And within therapy, if we talk about therapy, within therapy, it may depend on a person's ability to connect to their own emotions and experiences of others.
Okay.
And in terms of communication, poetry communicates at the subconscious level, which is why some lines move us to tears or lift us, joy, inspire us, or save us from destroying ourselves.
That's true.
Yeah. So within those lines, we can actually cry, we can actually smile, we can also actually be inspired. And for me, I would say poetry saved me, like I said earlier on in my program, but I would say poetry saved me because I found solace in so for me, it's more like something that has actually saved me.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's quite understood. Like you're able to express yourself through it, and in this world where it's like, what can we say? It's more of, I can say maybe, in a way, you feel like men, like the world is against men, and there's, there's this quote unquote type of toxic masculinity, and I feel like if you're able to express your emotions through something, you have an outlet, you're much safer or in a better position than others, So thank you for that. Yeah. So we can move on to the third question. So your poetry often explores deep emotions. Yeah. So for my listeners who haven't had the opportunity, I feel like you should definitely listen to some of his pieces. They do explore deep emotions. And so my question is, how can poetry help people connect with their own feelings and experiences in a way that fosters healing and self-awareness?
Okay. The fact that poetry evokes emotions, for me, I would openly say poetry evokes these emotions because it is a multi-sensory experience. I would say it's a multi-sensory experience.
Okay.
By providing healing and self-awareness, sometimes we need some sort of validation.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people will tell you that we need some sort of validation, and for me, poetry validates emotional experiences and improves group cohesiveness by helping people realize that many of their experiences are also shared by others. Many are the times that we feel like it's only me going through this.
Yeah, true.
But through this, through poetry, we can actually validate to say, okay, these emotions are also being shared by others, and if I'm going through this, then it also means there are other people out there that are going through the same emotion.
Very true. Yeah, okay.
So that in itself, we can foster healing and some sort of self-awareness, because when you realize to say there are a lot of people out there that are actually experiencing what I'm actually experiencing, we tend to feel like, no, my situation is bad, what I've gone through is terrible. But there are people out there that look at you and look for some sort of inspiration in you, and because they've been in worse situations than you are. So through realizing to say, it's not just me, other people out there also going through the same. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like that part, because many other times that we might be going through stuff, but you don't have, like on the outside, people might not know. And just like you rightfully put it, poetry has a way of, like expressing even certain hidden emotions that, might resonate with an individual differently. Like how I would feel about, like certain lines might be different, like compared to somebody else. And I feel like, the more you do it, the better, because there are a lot of, like experiences expressed that, like some people might not want to talk about certain things, but you hear it and you're like, oh, so it's not just me who's had to go through that, but like we're a lot of us out here. So
not only that, I also feel like you said earlier on, like most of the pieces that I've put out, like it's amazing how people can connect to these same stories.
Yeah.
Without even having to know the type of a person that I am, or just in general, without even having to know who am I, who am I. And then people can connect with these stories. And then I ask myself sometimes to say, how is this possible? How are these people able to connect with that? How are they finding, or how are they relating with these stories?
With these stories,
amazing.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, because I think at this age or at this point, I feel like people are trying to find meaning in their pain, their situations, because the fact of the matter is, as long as we are alive, we are subjected to some kinds of pains, and these pains are different. It might not just be like at a maybe like a romantic level. It could be financial. It could be it takes different forms for people, and I feel like what your poetry does, it shines a light on the fact that people are going through stuff, and like people are going through stuff, and it can be in a different way, different forms, but in a way, poetry has a way of uniting us or bringing us together to like we come together and unite in our pain, and just like understand that we are not alone. I'm not alone, you're not alone, and we have to keep moving forward. So I understand that. Okay, so I think, let's see, the next question is, many listeners might not be poets themselves, but they may want to use poetry as a tool for wellness. Can you provide guidelines or guidance on how someone can start incorporating poetry into their self-care routines? Oh, this one is tricky. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like it.
Okay.
So I once again, I feel poetry helps us to be grateful and empathetic. Writing in itself, reading and thinking poetically are the three ways to incorporate poetry in our daily routine.
So
thinking poetically, reading,
and writing. Okay.
And then I was saying, I feel our whole world is a recital of unspoken poems. I would say that the whole world is simply a recital of unspoken poems. So when you look around God's creation, everything around us is poetry in motion. So we can begin from there. If we don't have a basis of where we can begin from, just look around. Everything God has created is poetry in itself.
True. Very true. Yeah, that's actually mind-blowing for me, because when you do look at, like, just look around you, we are oftentimes like, let's say bogged down by the day-to-day, like, oh, I have to hustle. But then when you do actually look around, you see the beauty in this life. There's a lot of beauty around, and it's like you've said, it's just like, it's poetry in motion, like, and there's a lot to be grateful for, so I think
the few things that I've talked about, basically we'll use them. This one I talked about writing, and then I also talked about reading, and also talked about even in our thoughts, like we should think poetically.
Okay. That's very insightful. So I think Yeah, I'll move. Like most of these questions are just repetitive in a way. Let's see. So, O'Brien, could you share one of your your poems? I don't know. Are you ready for this? Could you share one of your poems? That you believe resonates. Like particularly well with our wellness-focused audience, and explain how it can serve as a source of inspiration and motivation for them.
Again, you're feeding me to the corner. Like, why are you doing this? Okay.
Yeah.
The time I started writing and producing poems, I've produced over 200 pieces, if I must make mention.
Yeah. So it's
now,
hard to choose.
You asked me to pick one.
One.
Can I pick at least 3?
Okay, yeah, 3. Yeah, 3 is fine.
Many authors. And I'm not saying these are actually... No, I'm picking these based on the question that you've asked.
Yeah,
based
sure.
on the fact that these would resonate particularly well with our wellness-focused audience. And yeah.
Yeah.
I was be inspired by them. I would say number 1 would be Flowers. There's a poem titled...
Yeah, I know that one. Flowers is beautiful.
I would say Essence again.
Okay. Essence is nice.
To actually help out with that one.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
You are support on that one, yeah.
You guys.
And you know why, obviously. You know why I picked Essence and Flowers. And then I would say this is not poetry, and then I would say Teary Skies.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the two first. I will talk about Flowers, and then I'll talk about Essence.
Okay.
So they kind of have similar intonations, if I may say, or similar meanings, and they carry a similar message, so to say.
Okay.
I feel it's a poem about the love for the mother that you lost at some point, and so forth.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of people out there would connect with this poem because so many people out there, they have lost their loved ones, and grief in itself. Grief in itself is something that, yes, for many years people have told us to say things are going to be okay and stuff, but it's not something that can easily be overcome. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Once you go through that pain, like, no one can come to you and tell you to say, no, it's gonna be okay. Like, the pain of losing someone you love, especially a mother, like the first person that actually loved us, and that. Yeah. So a lot of people that have lost their mothers connect with these two poems that I've talked about, Flowers and Essence.
No, I remember.
They draw a lot of inspiration and motivation from them. Like, give them some, not really comfort. I wouldn't say they give comfort and solace, but at least provide some sort of comfort. Yeah. Because I still feel like nothing can comfort you after you lose your parents. Like,
yeah, no, that's true, because I think, like, I really love especially Flowers, like, and Essence, because just like I think we've mentioned it, how these poems have a way to, like, unite us in our grief, because just like you've said, I don't feel like there's anything in the world that would ever take away the pain. It's always there. It might be, of course, how people say, no, time heals. Time heals. Yeah, that's a lie.
But I don't think people ever heal from losing someone they love.
There's no such thing. Yeah, I don't think you ever get to that point. I feel like we all just get to a point where we are able to live with the pain, It's there. You acknowledge, like, okay, this pain will never leave me. I'll always feel this. But still I have to, like, move on. So no, I appreciate this.
The other weird thing, I don't know whether it's a weird thing or it's something that is nice about it. Like, when I wrote that poem, I was talking about my mother and how someone out there would actually say, it's actually hit different. Like, I can relate to this concept. Like, you are talking about me. I'm like, How is this even possible?
You know?
So now, I talked about flowers. I also talked about essence. I also talked about this is not poetry. I'm sure you know it.
I love This Is Not Poetry. I feel like that's my ultimate favorite among all your pieces. I really love that one.
And then there's Teary Skies, and then the last one is All to Myself.
Oh,
so let me
okay.
say, let me just talk about All to Myself.
Okay.
So why do I love this one, and why do I feel it would resonate with a lot of people out there? Many times that you are told today, you're not supposed to talk about yourself, you're not supposed to praise yourself. It's a taboo, actually. Why are you talking about yourself? You're full of yourself, like you're a narcissist. All sorts of words to come in and stuff. So this poem, it's like me trying to express myself. Like I've written a number of poems. I've never really talked about myself. Like it's one of the things that really affect me, like on a personal level. Like I've written a lot of poems, but they touch different subjects, love, so forth. And mostly people would say, Brian is obviously talking about himself. But believe to me, most of the love stories that I've talked about or shared in most poems, they are basically not about me.
Okay.
I usually try to write about subjects that I find interesting, like stuff that people would relate to and so forth. So I'll speak.
Oh wow.
Poem onto myself. I'm specifically talking about myself.
Oh.
I would say it's the best poem that I completely talk about myself.
Oh.
I have talked about myself, but not 100%. But in this poem onto myself, I'm specifically referring to myself.
I don't think I have. I've had the opportunity to listen to that one.
You should. You unmatched.
Yeah, I have to.
Talk about challenges. I talk about how other people have looked up to me and how I feel like I'm not really. You should take your time to listen to it. It's nice.
I will, definitely. After this interview. Yeah, you know me. I have to listen to this then. I'll give you my 2 cents as usual.
And then last but not least is Teary Skies. So Teary Skies is a self-reflectory poem, so to say, whereby every night before you go to bed, like that's we have this conversation with ourselves. Like I'm sure, I don't know whether it happens to you, but it happens to me. And I've listened to it, I've yes, I think I go through it before I sleep. Before I sleep, go into deep thoughts.
Yeah.
Those 10 minutes or 5 minutes before
you go to bed.
You have a deep conversation with yourself. Happening. The people that looked how your life actually turned out to be, and how you wake up in the morning, and how you think like it's even forgetting to thank God, and actually take it for granted. Whenever you wake up in the morning, it's a miracle.
It's a miracle. Yeah, it's not something to take for granted at all.
Yeah, so that poem is a mixture of stuff. It talks about you before you go to bed, when you wake up, and a lot of things you've actually lost, and the good things that are yet to come. Yeah.
Oh wow.
But listen to it as well.
I will. It's that you've summed it up. I feel like you've, put it all into perspective, and yeah, there's a lot to unpack, but it's still all beautiful, like how you've put it. And sadly, we've come to our last question. I feel like I wish we could go on and on and on, but finally, the last question is finally, for all those who might be interested in exploring poetry for wellness, what resources or recommendations do you have for them to start their own poetic journey? And also any last parting words, for my listeners, and anything like that you'd like to share. I know, right? No, I feel like this should be a part 1. We should definitely do a part 2. Yeah.
Yet again, this is what I usually tell the beginners, the starters. I usually the poetry doesn't come with an instruction of mine.
Okay.
It's a two-way form of art. I believe it's a two-way form of art.
Mm-hmm.
So all you need is just to grab some paper and pen and let it bleed your heart. And then there is no fixed process that I would recommend, but I think I know a thing or two about it. So let me just break it down a bit. One, the first thing that you need to know is that you need to know what poetry is all about.
Okay.
It's not just the rhythm. It's not just about the rhythms and the rhymes. It's about the feeling that you want to draw out.
Okay.
And the poetry isn't just glorified. It's not always glorified, so to say. Not the fancy long words. Just let your mind fly.
Okay.
Like a bed, yes. So there's nothing like, no, you need to have fancy words and this, and there's nothing. It's not always glorified like that. And then your poem don't have to make sense sometimes.
Yeah. Big on that one. Yeah.
To make it different.
Yeah.
Don't let me make you mad. Don't make you this is not making any sense and so forth. I believe writing is a free therapy. Never stress yourself like that.
Okay.
So these are some of the pointers that I would give, that I would definitely help give someone so that they get started, and then also look deep within yourself.
Okay.
Because somewhere inside you hides an artist.
Oh yeah, true.
Which you are able to unmask. And thank you very much to the listener out there. I enjoyed this podcast, I must make mention. And I also wanted to say, continue doing what you're doing. You are really making a difference in a lot of people's lives out there. You might not realize today, Mulinga. But what you're actually doing is so inspiring to some of us. I've been wanting to make a podcast for the past I've just started. So when I heard that you started, I was like, wow. You're doing the most, like I said in the introduction. Like I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the strides that you've taken. This is not an easy job, but continue inspiring us and continue inspiring the masses out there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this. I do not take this lightly, and just taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share these gems with us, and it's not something I take lightly, and I just want to say thank you. You're also one of my biggest inspirations, Yeah, these things we don't say, but I feel like we need to celebrate each other, while we're still here. I read a quote once, I give me my flowers while I can still smell them. I feel like it's common practice for us. I don't know if it's just like Africans. Sometimes you might see your friend doing something unique, and it's really cool. You wish you don't know how to do it, but you this person is really good at it, and we never say no, you're good at it. Sometimes you be saying it in your heart and you don't tell people, and then maybe when this person is no longer there, then you're like, no, this person is actually very good at this, they were good, he was a good poet, but why didn't you tell them when they could hear it, and this is why you're one of my inspirations, and I just want to say thank you, and also don't stop, because that's the poetry, the art, it's a gift, and it's a gift that keeps on giving, because we might not say it, and maybe a lot of other people might not express it, but it helps. It's a form of therapy, it's a form of wellness, and just thank you for being you, and changing the world in your own spectre, because I feel like people are like, no, how can I change the world? I'm just one person. But it's the little things. It's just little things that actually change the world that we live in. So I would like to say thank you. And to my listeners, thank you for tuning in. Let's speak next week, and keep on shining from within.